Recording in progress.
Council meeting called to order. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our delegations and everybody that's at our council meeting today. We appreciate you guys coming out. So, called to order, disclosure of pecuniary interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. If there's any of those, why, please. So the other thing I should say is we have Mr. Councillor Ed Podnovitz on Zoom. He's going to be moving, making motions, whatever. But we won't even see him. We'll just hear him. So the other thing I would like to ask is when you're speaking, we've had requests from people for us to speak into the mic. Okay, so move the mic either closer to you, Mr. Elliott, or...
Hey.
Sorry for always picking on you.
Well, you were right. My sister actually told me she couldn't hear me. That's,
First time in her life. So,
I think usually she doesn't listen to me, but
all right,
which
so
is good sense of her.
moving right along. Resolution, Councillor Dirksen, seconded by Councillor Elliott at the minutes of the council minute, Minto, Council of the Town of Minto, February 28th, 2023, regular council be approved. All in favor? Councillor Podnovitz.
I'm in favor.
Thank you. Next resolution is by Councillor Zimmerman, seconded by Councillor Gunson, that the Town of Minto Council convenes into Committee of Adjustment. All in favor of that?
I'm in favor.
Thank you. That's carried. So we're going to move right into public meeting, and it's MV 2023-04, Kunkel, 5624, fifth line. I'm going to call the meeting to order. I'll be the chair. Any decision reached by this committee today cannot be used to set a precedent. Each application considered by the committee is dealt with in its own merits, and no two applications are exactly the same. The public hearing is to consider a minor variance application, MV 2023-04, Jeffrey and Sherry Kunkel. And I'll ask our Secretary Treasurer McRobb to say a few words.
Thank you, Chair Turton. The property subject to the proposed minor variance application is legally described as Concession 5, Part Lot 32, Registered Plan 60R3376, Part 1, and is municipally known as 5624 Fifth Line in the Town of Minto. The subject property is approximately 2.27 acres or 0.92 hectare. The purpose and effect of the minor variance application is to provide relief from Section 37.76A of the Town of Minto's Comprehensive Zoning Bylaw 01-86 as amended to permit for an addition on the existing accessory structure. Section 37.76A permits for a maximum ground floor area of an accessory structure on the property of 2,450 square feet, where 6,100 square feet is proposed. Additional relief may be considered at the meeting. The notices were mailed to the property owner within 200 feet or 60 meters of the subject property, as well as the applicable agencies, and posted on the subject property on February 22nd, 2023. Reports and comments were received from our Town of Minto, from Wellington County, as well as from Maitland Valley Conservation Authority. I will advise that no speakers registered to participate in the public hearing.
Thank you, Annaline. So we'll move right along here to our planning coordinator, Ashley Sawyer.
Perfect. Thank you, Chair Turton. So the Kunkels own and operate JK Industrial Painting, which is a local painting business that specializes in painting barns, industrial and commercial structures, and whitewashing. They've been in business for more than 25 years. Due to the supply issues since the start of the pandemic, the owners have experienced numerous back orders on supplies that are vital to the operation of their business. And as a result, they are looking to construct an 1,100 square foot addition onto their existing shop for additional storage space. This is going to be used for product. Currently, the maximum ground floor area for their site-specific zoning is 5,000 square feet, and this addition would bring the total to 6,100 square feet. The property currently does have a site-specific zoning in place that permits for accessory structures on the property to be used to store equipment, supplies, and vehicles associated with the owner's business, but it does also prohibit outdoor storage for business equipment and materials. Wellington County and Maitland Valley have noted no concerns with the proposed addition, and town staff are satisfied that the application is minor in nature, desirable and appropriate for the development of the land, and that it keeps with the intent of the zoning bylaw and official plan. So we are recommending that the committee consider approving the application, and I'm here if you have any questions.
Okay, so owner applicant is not here today, so that's what we're going to do. We'll move right into questions from the committee. Ed, do you want to be first if you have a question?
Just have a comment. I just wondered what the product that they're storing, is there anything in relation to any kind of hazardous material being stored?
I do not believe it differs from anything that they currently are using. It's just they would like to be able to hold more supply so they don't have to push off customers' requests, essentially.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? I think this one is very straightforward. We've had no opposition at all from anyone, any of the neighbors. And it's something that Jeff's been doing for years and years. So hopefully I'll ask Secretary Treasurer McRobb to come with the resolution.
Thank you, Chair Turton. Just like to note that upon a resolution being carried or defeated, the notice of decision of the Committee of Adjustment is to be signed by all members of the Committee of Adjustment in favor of the decision. I'm going to read for you the approval. That the Town of Minto Committee of Adjustment approves the application by Jeffrey and Sherry Kunkel for property legally described as Concession 5, Part Lot 32, Registered Plan 60R3376, Part 1, municipally known as 5624, 5th line in the Town of Minto, to provide relief from Section 37.26A to permit for the maximum ground floor area of all accessory structures on the property of 6,100 feet squared. We would require a mover and a seconder.
Mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Elliott, Councillor Gunson. Thank you very much. So moved by Councillor Elliott, second by Councillor Gunson, that the Town of Minto Committee of Adjustment, exactly what Annalene has proposed. Any questions on this? All in favor of the motion?
I'm in favor.
Thank you, Ed. That's carried. So anyone wishing to receive a copy of the notice of decision of the Committee of Adjustment in respect to the minor variance application must make a written request to the clerk of the Town of Minto at 5941 Highway 89, Hairston, NOG 1ZO, or by email at annalene@town.minto.on.ca. And I'll officially adjourn this public meeting. Thank you. We'll move right into the next public meeting, and I'll act as chair, and I state that any decision reached by this committee today cannot be used to set a precedent. Each application considered by the committee is dealt with on its own merits, and no two applications are exactly the same. Public hearing is to consider a minor variance application, MV 2023-05, Kelly Ross. And go ahead, Secretary Treasurer McRobb.
Thank you, Chair Turton. The subject property of the proposed minor variance application is legally described as Concession 6, Part Lot 5, Register Plan 60R1831, Part 1, and is municipally known as 9057 Road 1 North in the Town of Minto. The subject property is approximately 1.15 acres or 0.47 hectares. The purpose and effect of the minor variance application is to provide relief from Section 8.5.2.4 to permit for a reduced rear yard setback. Section 8.5.2.4 requires a minimum yard setback of 7.6 meters or 24.9 feet, whereas 3 meters or 10 feet is proposed. Additional relief may be considered at this meeting. The notices were mailed to the property owners within 200 feet or 60 meters of the subject property, as well as the applicable agencies, and posted on the subject property on February 22nd, 2023. Reports and comments have been received from the Town of Minto, from the Wellington County, and as well from Maitland Valley Conservation Authority. There are no speakers registered other than the owners and applicant.
Okay, so again, we will ask our planning coordinator, Ashley Sawyer, to enlighten us on this.
Perfect, thank you. So this lot was severed by the Ross family in the late 1970s, and it has remained a vacant buildable lot to date. The applicant is proposing to construct a single-family dwelling, but requires rear yard relief to do so due to the required natural environment setback, the front yard setback, and the required septic bed location. As the property is situated on a gravel road, the applicant notes that keeping the required front yard setback and minimizing the rear yard is preferable, as it will help reduce the impact of road dust and noise on the proposed dwelling. Wellington County and Maitland Valley both have no concerns with the application, and Maitland Valley has noted that the proposed dwelling location is acceptable. Town staff are satisfied that the application's minor in nature, desirable for the appropriate development of the land, and keeps with the intent that the zoning bylaw and official plan lay out. The applicants will have ample front and side yard space with the proposed layout, and we are recommending that the committee consider approving the application. And I'm here if you have any questions.
Okay, so first we will hear from either Kelly or Ron. Is there anything you want to add? So Kelly, I'll ask either whoever wants to speak to go to the mic, state your name and the reason why you're here today. So,
Sorry, I was a couple minutes late. I was driving from Fergus from work. Pardon?
were you speeding?
Uh,
Good answer.
yeah, so we're in the process of planning to build a house on the lot, which has been in our family for a long time. And I had been in talks with Maitland Valley, and there were some restrictions in the front right corner due to setbacks of wetlands. So that kind of made it difficult for positioning the house. So ideally, we would like the house to sit back further into the rear yard. And Dad owns the adjacent forest, which will hopefully eventually roll into my name down the road. So yeah, if we could have 10 feet from the lot line, that would be perfect.
So Kelly, I'll ask you to stay. We're going to have some questions possibly, unless there's something you want to say, Ron, or no problem. So I'm going to open it up to anyone that wants to ask either Ashley or Kelly. Ed, you want to go first?
I have no questions.
Other questions? This lot was severed many, many years ago by your grandpa, I'm sure, and it'll be nice to have 4 houses on that Wellington Road 1 North. That's a fact, right? So, any other questions? Hearing none, then I'll ask, no response, nothing else, Ashley? Okay, so Annaleen?
Thank you. Upon a resolution being carried or defeated, the notice of decision of the Committee of Adjustment is to be signed by all members of the Committee of Adjustment in favor of the decision. I will read the approval. That the Town of Minto Committee of Adjustment approves the application by Kelly Ross on behalf of Ronald Charles Peter Ross for property legally described as Concession 6, Part Lot 5, Registered Plan 60R1831 Part 1, municipally known as 9057 Road 1 North in the Town of Minto, to provide relief from Section 8.5.2.4 to permit for a reduced rear yard setback of 3 meters or 10 feet. We just require a mover and a seconder.
Thank you, Councillor Zimmerman, Deputy Mayor Anderson. Everybody understands the questions, and Ed, I'll get you next time on the motion. Everybody understand before we vote? All in favor of the motion?
I'm in favor.
Thank you. That's carried. So it'd be sad to see you rush away, Kelly. You drove all the way from Fergus. You might as well stay, hold that seat down, and stay for the rest of the council meeting. So I'll state that anyone wishing to receive a copy of the notice of decision of the Committee of Adjustment in respect to the minor variance application must make a written request to the clerk of the Town of Minto at 5941 Highway 89 Hairston, NOG 1ZO, or by email at annaleen@town.minto.on.ca. And I'll officially adjourn this public meeting. So I have a motion by Deputy Mayor Anderson, seconded by Councillor Dirksen, that the Town of Minto Committee of Adjustment convenes into the Committee of a Whole. All in favor of that motion?
I'm in favor.
Thank you. So we have no public meetings today, but we do have a delegation. We welcome today our Health Professional Recruitment Committee for an update. We have Shirley Borges, Allison Armstrong, Jody Caldwell. So I will ask whoever's speaking to go to the mic if all three want to go to the mic and We always look forward once a year to you folks coming to talk to us, telling us all about the state of the healthcare system in our town, because we all believe that that little hospital over there and our health is very important to us. So thank you for coming today, Shirley, and go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Turton. Always a pleasure to come and give our annual update, and thank you, Annalene, as well, for allowing us to be on the agenda today and hopefully queuing up our video, which we'll present when Allison does her update. My name is Shirley Borges. I am the chair of the recruitment committee. I have been doing that for a long time, which is okay. And I've seen lots of goods and pluses and lots of ebbs and flows. And I'm going to tell you, the last year has been a tough one. And about this time last year, we had 9 physicians in Minto Mapleton, and currently we have 8. And no surprise to many of you here today, Dr. Okoye left in June of last year, and that leaves us at 8 physicians with about 15,000 patients. And just about a month ago, over 1,000 of Dr. Okoye's patients were transitioned, most of them going to one of our nurse practitioners, one of 3 in Minto and Mapleton. And I think today it seems appropriate that we've asked Jody Caldwell, one of our nurse practitioners with the family health team and a really strong nursing and nurse practitioner advocate, to provide a bit of an update, in addition to Allison Armstrong, who is our recruiter. And we were really happy to have Allison join us in the past year. We had a little bit of a gap while Allison tried some different things, and she's found her way again back to the recruitment table. And we're really happy about that, because a lot of work has gone on in the past year around updating our marketing and materials and recruitment. And so it'll be really good to hear her update. I guess on a final note, a bit of a positive note, one of our physicians in Palmerston is going on a maternity leave in May. And through working with Allison and Dr. Wilgots, we're pleased to report that we've pretty much 99% sure secured 2 locums to help Dr. Wilgots enjoy her 1 year off, and hopefully her patients will be well looked after during that maternity leave. So that's a big success. And the really neat thing about that, those locums were residents with us, medical residents that spent some time, anywhere ranging from 2 months to 4 months with us, doing a rural rotation. So that is really success, and hopefully will allow those patients to continue to have access to primary care during that mat leave. So Mayor Turton, I think that's probably enough from me. I'd like to turn it over to the legs of the operation, meaning a lot of work goes into recruitment behind the scenes. And Allison, I'll maybe turn the mic over to you. Okay, good.
I did not leave. I've been with the hospital for 15 years. I was reassigned to a different job, I'm just saying. Anyways, so we are in a healthcare recruitment crisis. There's no doubt about it. This is something that's provincial right now. It's national, it's global, and it's unlike anything I think I've experienced in my career. It's an uphill battle right now for nurses and physicians trying to recruit. So we're really trying to think outside the box and be creative in how we're approaching. Many of the family physicians I've spoken to, I've been at a lot of career fairs over the past couple of months. They're graduating with huge debt. They cannot get mortgages for homes right now. So the thought of having to take on a business practice and have to pay overhead and pay staff is just too daunting for them right now. So instead, they're going to other communities to locum where they're, paid well, and they'll move from community to community to help pay off debt. And they're also working in what's called a hospitalist position. So a lot of family medicine residents, when they graduate, you can work in a hospital just looking after inpatients. And that's attractive to them right now because they're paid well, but they have no overhead. Which leaves us in a bit of a predicament because we're trying to recruit family physicians that will look after our community patients as well as work in the hospital and look after inpatients and deliver emergency department care and so many other things that they do. The partnerships that we have are key right now because we have to remain competitive with other communities. And we have to, again, like I said, think outside the box. It has to be a little different than what we've done in the past. We've talked about nurse practitioner-led clinics, and we're tossing around different ideas to try to help right now. What I can say are some of the things we're doing are working well, and they always have. And Dr. Peterkin's been wonderful at taking on medical trainees. So we get trainees from McMaster that will come in for a 2-month period. Dr. Peterkin trains them, and from that training program, we were able to get 2 to cover the maternity leave. So that's a good thing. So when people are here training, we have to give them the best experience possible from the moment they land, and whether it's in the hospital, giving them their orientation, their ID badge, or just even, being able to let them go to the Drayton Theater and out to local restaurants. That makes it a huge difference to them when they're trying to choose. So we're working hard on that. This past year, we've put a lot of effort into new marketing materials. So our website's new. It's dedicated to what not only the physician is looking for, but perhaps the physician's spouse. We're usually trying to recruit an entire family, not just one person. So we've put a lot of effort into that website, helping to address concerns there. We have a new social media campaign that's fun and, again, very different than what I think most communities are doing. And we recently launched a video, which thank you to the township for supporting that, because it's from the funds we get from the township that helps us to pay for some of these things. So we can show the video if it's very short. It's not long. So we can maybe watch that right now. So.
I've always wanted to work in a rural area. I find that I'm able to use all my skills. I enjoy getting to know my patients as people. I look forward to going to work every day. Minto Mapleton Family Health Team and the area in general is very rewarding as a physician.
You can really tailor your practice to what you like. Some people will do emergency medicine, some will do hospitalist, palliative care, home visits, long-term care, obstetrics, basically any area of medicine. If that's what you're interested in, it can become a big part of your practice.
Here we do set our own schedule and things are more flexible. Although we're quite busy, I certainly have lots of time to be home with my wife and young family.
We have a great location. We're not far from the cities and not far from those beaches in the summer. We also offer a lot of amenities that the bigger cities have, but with a smaller community feel.
In Australia, there's a term called latte rural. If you can get a latte, you're not really rural, and I think that fits here as well.
You can have that big yard with the rural agricultural background and still be in town. You come here and you immediately feel at home.
People really appreciate having you here and really appreciate the medicine that you do.
Being part of this community, being part of this physician group, being part of this hospital is incredibly rewarding, and I do think it's actually my dream job, and I hope that we can find somebody that wants to get to know their patients as people, take part in the community, and enjoy a wonderful career.
So again, when we're asking for support right now, we need it desperately, and it's putting together videos like this, which we send out. So we have a huge group between our 3 rural hospitals, huge group of medical trainees that we see. So we are blasting them right now with information in terms of jobs available and just these little video footage to help kind of give them an idea. I don't know if anybody has any questions for me right now, or do you want to wait till Jody speaks?
Sure, we can wait.
Okay.
Alison. We'll have all 3 is
Thank
up
you.
there on the hot seat.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. That was a great video, amazing. Go ahead, Jody.
Thank you. So we're just handing out a little handout there specifically about nurse practitioners. So I have been a nurse practitioner with the Minto Mapleton Family Health Team for the past 13 years, where I was actually what's called a grow your own nurse practitioner. So at the time when they were unable to fill that position, there was compensation for me to go to school and also to pay for my education afterwards with a 2-year return of service. So that was good bang for your buck because I've been here for 13 years. So, I grew up in this community. I was born and raised in Mount Forest. I'm local. And so I understand that the rural need for healthcare and the importance of that. So currently I work in the Drayton office. I have about 650 patients that I'm most responsible provider for. So those are patients that are rostered under Dr. Peterkin, but see me for their routine primary care. And we have that model going throughout many offices in the Minto Mapleton Family Health Team, including our Clifford office. Some were doing that in Palmerston with Dr. Okoya, and now those people have transitioned to Drayton as well. So there's a couple of things that I wanted to highlight specifically. So the handout that I've given you is just to clarify the role of nurse practitioner. So a lot of people hear that term, they confuse it with RPN. There's a lot of nursing terms, and so understanding the difference between those. So as a nurse practitioner, we've had our degree, we've gone on and received advanced education, often at a master's level, and therefore we're able to independently diagnose patients, assess them, order lab tests, make diagnosis, order prescriptions independently, and make specialist referrals. So for the most part, in primary care, we're able to provide all the healthcare needs for our patients. I'll get you to flip over to the back side of that handout. So I think a part that a lot of people get confused about is the rapid growth and expansion of our scope of practice in the last decade. So when I first started practicing, there were restrictions on things like I could renew certain medications, but I couldn't order all medications. In the past decade there, on the left-hand side, it's showing that expansion of our scope of practice. So nurse practitioners can now independently prescribe all medications, including narcotics. We can independently order all lab tests, all imaging. Most recently, this past summer, we're able to order CTs and MRIs independently. So this really speaks to the volume of the expansion of our scope of practice, the level of independence, and the well-rounded care that we can offer patients, especially at a primary care level. So the chart that's in the middle there sort of speaks to that. So a lot of people are confused about our level of practice under a physician, or that we require a supervising physician, and that's not true. We practice independently. We are responsible for our independent practice and therefore the care that we give our patients. So with that increase in our scope of practice, there's also been a dramatic decrease with our need for physician consultation. And I think we've more stepped away from what we would call that supervisory role to a collaborative role. So I really love working in the family health team. We do really work as a team. We collaborate, we ask each other questions, and those questions go both ways between nurse practitioner and physician and vice versa, and the rest of our allied health professionals. So the big message here is that traditionally, recruitment and retention and the answer to lack of people having access to primary care, the solution has been directed solely to physician recruitment. And the answer here is that nurse practitioners are uniquely positioned to fill that gap in primary care. We can step up to those circumstances where there are patients that are unrostered, just like has happened with caring for Dr. Okoya's patients. And we know that the outcomes of nurse practitioner care, are listed there: improved access, effective outcomes, decreased ER visits, decreased wait times, decreased hospital readmissions, all of those things that we're looking for. So with those things, I think, obviously the recruitment committee asking you for funds is a very important piece of this. And here, rurally, we have a very different circumstance with nurse practitioners. With physicians, we have a recruitment problem. Over the past decade, I've had many nurse practitioner students as well from McMaster, from Western, from Laurentian, from Athabasca, not including myself as a grow your own. In fact, 3 of the other 4 nurse practitioners that are currently employed by the family health team were my students. So we have a lot of great turnover. People really want to work. This is a nurse practitioner's dream job also. And they sort of say, how can I get into that family health team? And the reality is that we don't have a nurse practitioner recruitment problem. We have a nurse practitioner currently filling a mat leave who would love to work here afterwards. We don't have any funding for more nurse practitioners. So the piece that I'm asking for you guys to consider is I've also included a note there to our member of parliament to advocate from a municipality standpoint that there is a viable solution here to help our community access primary care and its nurse practitioners, and we need to increase the funding for those positions. Yeah, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Jody, thank you. That was very well said. I mean, that was an educational speech, if that's
Good.
what you want to call it.
That's what I was going for.
So, yeah, we're at question period. Anybody that has a question? Deputy Mayor Anderson.
Great.
So we've been talking years
Mhm.
about increasing the numbers for physicians.
Mhm.
Mind making the NPs fall under their limits. What's happened to those talks? Because we talked about it years and years and years ago, and I know it's a hindrance for some of the physician recruitment because they have to roster underneath another physician. So they can't make full-time wages, and like everybody else, they have financial implications when they've just finished school. Anybody know what happened to those talks? Because they promised lifting those numbers years and years and years ago. It was a hot topic when the Walmart clinic opened in Fergus, because that's how they got the docs to take it on. Because if they brought in physicians there, they wouldn't be able to bring any new physicians in because the numbers would already be rostered. So the temporary physicians covering the Walmart clinic, that's how they got the Fergus docs to take that on.
I'm not sure about the answer to that question specifically. What I can tell you about is the structure of rostering patients. And so the piece with that is nurse practitioners currently, and this is some, I'm just to clarify, I'm also a board member of the Nurse Practitioner Association of Ontario. So currently, nurse practitioner rostering is a huge advocacy topic for nurse practitioners in general. So currently, when you talk about nurse practitioner-led clinics, that is team-based primary care options, similar to a family health team, similar to a community health center or CHC. And so currently, nurse practitioners are not able to roster patients. And that's a huge gap because the province is not collecting any data. So currently right now, in the 25 nurse practitioner-led clinics in the province, there's about 100,000 patients being solely cared for by nurse practitioners that are not being counted in the data by the government. So it's a real tragedy, and that's super frustrating for us. And so that's where the Nurse Practitioner Association is pushing the government to be able to be independently rostering our patients. And therefore, that would allow us to have better demonstration of the value of nurse practitioners. Absolutely.
So each physician has their limit of patients they're allowed to have rostered, and that's how the funding flows. It's through the roster of patients, with the goal being we're going to make them all healthy, and the less we see them, the better, and we still get
Exactly.
paid. So let's make good lifestyle choices.
Yeah.
So each nurse practitioner's patient has to be rostered to a certain physician in the team.
Yes. So my patients right now, like Dr. Peterkin's roster is a combination of the people that she's most responsible for and the people that I'm most responsible for. Agreed. You should also tell that to Matthew. Yeah, absolutely. I can provide you more information on that topic specifically if you like. Yeah.
I have no idea because we have nurse practitioner and emerge, but they're funded through the emerge department and
Yes.
different kettle of fish.
Exactly.
So another issue that, I mean, we have the physician issue, but we have the nursing shortage too, and I'm wondering what people's position is on the issue that's happening currently with nurses working for agencies and filling long-term care facilities, providing almost all of their care. So when you're looking at recruiting new nurses, they also come up with a huge debt compared to the salary that they make. Don't have as many financial incentives. They don't have communities saying we'll cover all. They have brought back in the new program, or the old program, which was very successful in this school, where if you brought in a new grad, for every year they worked, they got a year's tuition back until they had it all paid back. But now they can go to an agency and work in long-term care, where their job will be bed orders, dealing with the physicians and answering the telephone, and they make twice as much, if not more. Plus, the agency gets a kickback. Plus, probably whoever hired that agency. This is fraud. This is
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a really great point. And, you know, that's a big topic as well. The government has approved nurse practitioner attendings in long-term care, meaning that the nurse practitioner would be the primary care provider for those patients. There are long-term care positions for nurse practitioners currently open in Minto Mapleton and North Wellington. And the reality is the government severely underfunded those positions to make those desirable to people, and therefore are requiring agency nursing. And that became a huge issue during the pandemic. The issue with, and the piece that we get feedback on from those positions is that those agency nurses are not local people. Those are people that are often coming in from the city. It's not a sustainable practice, right? And that's where I say we have a really unique position with the family health team. Our nurse practitioner students come, they train in a team-based model. We're very collaborative, we're very supportive, versus those positions are isolating. They don't have the supports. And so it's not a desirable position. And so that's the part that's really frustrating for us, is we really have an opportunity to employ these people to answer the need of our community, and we don't have funding. It makes no sense. Yeah.
If you're working in Woodbridge, as I do, the doors are constantly swinging, there's a constant flow of patients, and they're simply there because they can't access primary health care.
Yeah.
The doctor's offices are so backed up that it's 3 weeks, so if they have an immediate problem, they have no choice. But
Or they don't have a care provider.
Correct, and well, they don't have any, they're not rostered to anybody.
Exactly.
And the walk-in clinic now has very limited appointments, and it just doesn't get done. But this model that's happening at long-term care, it's an almost impossible model to break without the government stepping in and declaring it illegal.
Right.
Because why would?
But that also
How do
answers,
they get those nurses to come back and
Yeah.
say, well, now we're gonna go back to regular wages? So the regular staff are now leaving, quitting, or getting fired, and then coming back to the agency and earning double the money.
it almost feels like private healthcare.
Doesn't it just? Doesn't it just? And the question to me is,
Yes.
where's the money coming from to supply that increased wage? From the food budget, from the cleaning budget, from the laundry budget?
Yeah. We're on the same page.
Yeah, we are.
Totally, absolutely.
I-
Yeah.
well, I'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Sounds good. Any other questions or, yeah.
So we have a solution. Other questions, Ed?
No, I don't particularly have a question. Watching that video is actually a very, very well put together video. Just want to make a comment. I didn't know the doctor that attended to me when I had my little mishap, but that was the doctor that was in that video, Dr. Deacon, and he has a great bedside manner when he was putting my 30 stitches in.
That's great, Ed. Thank you. So just wanted to point out one thing. We have a Good Roads Convention coming up in Toronto, and the town of Minto and the town of Mapleton are putting together a delegation to go to talk to Minister Jones. Is it Sylvia Jones? So that's coming up. I mean, normally when we go to these things, two presentations. We present our issues, and then we give a solution. So in this particular case, we have both. We have an issue, we have a solution that's going to, you talked about funding. It's going to cost a little bit of money. I guess it's quite a bit of money. Depends how you look at it. So so right now we're putting it together between our CAO and Mapleton CAO. And before we go to this, I think we'd like to talk again about
Absolutely.
exactly what our talking points are that particular day. And hopefully Deputy Mayor Anderson is going. You going to Good Roads? So maybe we'll just take.
Ditto.
Guest appearance, I'll just come on down.
And the only piece I would say to that too is including the new chief nursing officer in any of those conversations, because I think that's a really strong point that position has been re-implemented within the government, specifically looking at nursing positions, right? And advocating for that too. But we can talk about that at the presentation.
Okay.
Really glad that Jody came to answer all the tough questions today. Mayor Turton, we'd be more than happy to help you review your presentation so that you're well armed for your 15-minute, I guess, meeting with the minister to make sure the messages are clear. And I think it's really important that we do come with some solutions, not just problems. And I think she will receive those very well. So we'd be more than willing to assist you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Well, thank you. Allison, welcome back. I know I seen the look on your face when Shirley said that. Allison, the person with the legs. So, So we have a motion that the Council of the Town of Minto forward a letter to MPP Ray requesting support for the nurse practitioners. And I'd like a mover and a seconder. Councillor Potnovitz, do you want to
I'll
get your
move
name
that.
on this?
I'll
Thank
move
you.
that, yes.
Seconder? Thank you. Deputy Mayor Anderson. All in favor of that motion?
I'm in
That's
favor.
carried. Thank you. So thank you. You three ladies are welcome to stay because we're going to get into some exciting stuff now. More exciting stuff. So question period. Welcome, Mr. Faulkner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. But I'm going to leave with the three ladies.
I hope you're taking them to Tim Hortons.
So it's not that exciting, right?
Well, it could be. Hey, Ron. It's in there.
Kelly, did you sign in?
Yeah, I just did.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Shirley. So correspondence received for information, moved by Councillor Gunson, second by Councillor Zimmerman, that the council receive the correspondence as information. Unless there's any there that we want to pull out and talk about. 2023 newsletter from Helen at the Mapleton Senior Center for Excellence is always interesting to read. So hearing none, all in favor of the motion to accept?
I'm in favor.
That's carried. Thank you very much. So committee minutes for approval, we have none. And so now we're really getting into some interesting stuff. We have Belinda, Summer, and Aaron presenting a year-end review, and we all have a copy on our desk. So welcome,
Thank
ladies.
you. Thank you, Mayor Turton, members of council. It's our pleasure to be here today to present our 2022 year in review. It's funny when you look back, it feels like forever ago. This year, 2022, was luckily more normal. It started out, as you can see in the first page, maybe not as normal, but it got there. So it was a busy year. And as you mentioned, Summer and Aaron are here, and I want to shout out to Aaron for preparing this booklet for us and the presentation. We do distribute these in the community, and we'll share at the Mayor's Breakfast in April as well. So it's a nice takeaway for people that don't always understand what's involved in economic and community development. So we're going to take turns presenting the various pages, and it's a short council agenda today, so we don't have to rush. So bear with us. We won't read word for word by all means. So just like to go over the definition of what economic development is. It's a process of targeted activities and programs that work to improve the economic well-being and quality of life of a community by building local wealth, diversifying the economy, creating and retaining jobs, and building the local tax base. And here in Minto, we really believe that to do that, we work with our business community residents, community groups. It's an all-in team effort to do this successfully. And as you can see there, we work with a lot of community groups and organizations, 29 different committees to be exact. So I'm not going to read them all, but you can see the list there. So we kicked off the year doing Minto Spreads Kindness. It was kind of a challenging start to 2022 with lockdowns happening again, the mask mandate, all that stuff. So we reached out to the community and were able to collect $7,600 that was donated by residents and businesses that we went out and purchased local gift cards and supported restaurants and just went around surprising people on the street, trying to raise people's spirits. We went into the hospitals, the nursing homes, the schools, gave out treats, donuts, and coffees, and just really tried to support our struggling restaurants while at the same time spreading kindness. So that's how we kicked off the year. I'm going to turn over to Aaron to highlight some of the events that we undertook in 2022. As you can see, it's a lengthy list.
Yeah, so just to start off, 2022, we, as Belinda mentioned, it started a bit rough with some online events, but we pretty quickly got back to launching all of our in-person events, and we ended up with 88 organized by the end of the year, and then 15 different workshops run out of Launch It. So from lots of things hosted by like the Minto Youth Action Council, the Minto Farmers Market, and our downtown committees. So just, yeah, it was a busy year to start. And then the next page. So kind of just getting into what we did. We distributed over 6,000 town of Minto community guides throughout Minto and to the campgrounds and kind of beyond, to just a booklet to describe what we're up to the year so people can save the date and learn all about our community. We welcomed 31 different families to Minto with our newcomer welcome reception, which we hosted this year in collaboration with the Hairston Fall Fair. So we did it on the Friday night of the fair, paid people's entrance, and they could come in and listen to some live music and have snacks, and just kind of meet different community groups and businesses, get their welcome bag, and ask any questions they have about the community. So that was a really good event in September. Some other initiatives we did, we worked with different community groups and different departments to kind of launch these new initiatives. So 2022 was the year of the garden, and we worked with the Public Works Department and the Clifford and Harrison Horticulture Societies to present different kind of promotional efforts to share that it's the year of the garden, and that ended with our Garden of the Year contest, which you can see a picture of one of the 4 sets of winners. We had 4 different categories. And then another thing is we worked with the Grey Wellington Theatre Guild, Minto Arts Council, and Spark, which is the Supporting Performing Arts and in Rural and Remote Communities, to put on 4 different workshops throughout the year.
Our most proud project, I think, of the year was our Move to Minto campaign, multiple award-winning project that we were able to work with numerous local businesses. So I want to always shout out to them. Awesome, who looked after our Google AdWords campaign, Memory Tree Productions for awesome video. And I should note they also created that great recruitment video and used some of our footage. So that was nice. And obviously Heather Waterworth from Worth Communications helped us with our branding, our website, all that stuff. And to several different photographers that are all local to Minto that helped us capture different residents that moved here, that we could tell their story on the website. So if you haven't checked out the website, it's a neat space to go and see these stories of why people moved here and what they're experiencing living here. And the bubbles just kind of show some of the metrics that we keep track of up until the end of 2022. So obviously it's increased since then, but we've had a ton of views on the video and people going to the website. And as you can see there, it's just a list of the 3 awards that we won this year. This slide here kind of ties into some of the elements the ladies behind me were speaking to. So our department is involved with the Lions Medical Clinic. And so we worked with Terry and Gord and the rest of the crew in ensuring this renovation was successfully completed. And I do believe that council is aware that we have tenants going into the expanded space, and Gord and I are working on recruiting other tenants in the medical space to fill the other offices in Dr. Sean's spot. We also worked with the Wellington Waterloo Dufferin Workforce Planning Board, the Career Education Council, Waterloo Region, and ourselves to create 2 campaigns. One is a Day in the Life series, where we were able to focus on TG Minto, the Palmerston Hospital, and C&M Seeds, highlighting different careers that are available in those workplaces. And that was all over YouTube and spread out across the region. And then the First Job campaign was the opportunity for people to share what their first job was and how those skills that you learned in the first job help you further on in your career. So kind of trying to showcase to students that those first jobs are important. So those are 2 things that we worked on last year, and we're excited to be partnering with the Career Education Council on some upcoming things this spring. Allison touched on, and Shirley, I guess, touched on the healthcare recruitment efforts. So we sit on the committee for that and are active in providing all sorts of promotional materials for them and just helping them with recruitment. We continue to partner with our neighbors up the north with our Northern Wellington ECDEV stuff, so you can see that there. And we continue to offer our Northern Wellington Jobs and Housing portal. So those who don't know, they can post their jobs for free, and it feeds up to other portals and also any people that have apartments for rent, we encourage them to post them there. Otherwise, people find them hard to find. Under this category, once again, we were able to offer the Pitch It competition. We had over $30,000 in cash and prizes given away, thanks to amazing sponsors. Our 3 finalists were TNT Fishing Lures, Building Bridges, Adult Day Program, and Cafe at the Old Post. And the winner was TNT Fishing Lures, who is continuing to expand and grow their business. Under our community improvement plan, this year was a little slower. As you can imagine, businesses have been struggling throughout COVID and continue to struggle. So we only approved about 10 grants this year, and that was, we gave out 28,000 approximately and saw over 64,000 in improvements. Under industrial land, we sold 4 lots for expansions. So Stones and More, the Super Storage, Harrison Home Hardware, and Multi-Shelter. And then we had 2 pending at the end of last year, and one of them came to council last week. So busy time in the industrial park, and as you all know, we're narrowing in on selling out. And turn over to Summer.
Hello there. On behalf of the Minto Chamber and Launch It, I want to thank you for having us here so we can review 2022. So I'm going to kick off with just a quick review of what Think Minto First is. So back in 2010, I believe, the Minto Chamber launched what they call as Think Minto First, which initially started as a fundraising program for not-for-profit groups and organizations within Minto to sell gift cards to local businesses to raise funds for their organization. This has been an incredibly successful program and really forward-thinking of our Chamber of Commerce. So up till this point, $97,100 in gift certificates have been sold to local Minto businesses, raising $21,000 for these community groups. Big shout out to the Harrison District Horticultural Society, as well as the Harrison United Church. They are 2 champion groups who run this program each and every year, but we highly encourage other groups and organizations to run this. It just keeps your money local. You get, you purchase gift cards on things you would already be purchasing anyway. And big thank you to our businesses that participate, because they give money back to these groups and keep it. So it's been an incredibly successful program, and we will continue. Now, an enhanced version of the Think Minto First program is, as you can see here, we did not invent shopping local, but we're just making it easier. So thanks to Healthy Restart funding, we were able to purchase, I guess, a platform for downtown gift cards. So these are lovely Think Minto First plastic gift cards. You can buy them online. You can come into the office and purchase them. And they just, you know, run through just like a Visa. So it was really, we had a huge uptake from the business community. They are extremely grateful to the town and the chamber for bringing this initiative, because again, it keeps money local. You're able to gift things really easily within the community. If you purchased one of these gift cards, you can use them at over 60 businesses that we've onboarded so far within the community, and that number is growing. So to purchase a gift card for an upcoming celebration, you can go to the Minto Chamber website and purchase right on there. So we really encourage. So between December 16th, when this program launched, and the 31st, we immediately sold $12,000 in those gift cards. Now it's up to approximately $15,000, and we're seeing, you know, more and more uptake with this. So thank you again to the town for being so supportive for things like this for the chamber, because without our wonderful partnership and relationship, things like this would not be possible. And again, to our business community. So if you have any questions about that, you can let me know. On to the next page. So one thing that sometimes gets overlooked because of lack of time is that our chamber board of directors, they are all business owners that sit around that table, which is actually quite unique. A lot of chambers in the area, they have residents or they've got employees and staff. Ours, everyone that sits around that table is an owner of a business, and most of them are also owners of their bricks and mortar location, which gives us a really unique perspective on, you know, what the information that we gather and how we strategically plan and move forward as a Chamber of Commerce. 100% of our dues are spent locally to support the growth and promote local businesses. We support businesses with in-person events, networking events, seasonal promotions, and advertising campaign. And I believe that our chamber is just incredibly forward-thinking and progressive. So thank you to our volunteer chamber board. We know time is limited, and the fact that they continue to be so supportive and our chamber just keeps growing is a real testament to the Minto business community. This year, we've progressively been changing and adapting our chamber business directory so that it tells more of a story of the Minto business community and our region. And I think this year we just kind of really nailed it. If anyone hasn't seen this book, pop into the office. I think there's some out front too. It is just really, really creative, and there's not the ads in there like there has been previously. There's a little write-up about each business and what makes them special and why you should really visit them. There's also days in the life. So, we picked 3 champions in our community, and they kind of did what their ideal Saturday would be like in Minto, traveling to different restaurants or visiting different attractions. So we're really proud of this publication. And again, to our wonderful creative person who is the past chair of the Minto Chamber, Heather Waterworth, hats off to her for her creative vision. It really was quite a great success. Also on this page, it is really important to note that since 2014, we have done 72 ribbon cuttings, but 8 of them were just last year, and we have 3 more coming up on May 2nd. If anyone wants to put that on their calendar, we encourage you to attend. And again, thank you so much. Council always is so supportive of our new businesses, and it's such a great way to welcome the business into the community, learn about the owner, and visit them. So I am always told how appreciated it is from the business community. So also every month, the chamber, but we partner up with Whiteman and 88.7 The River, but Adam comes around and we do interviews. And I'm not sure if you guys see this on Whiteman. I never watch them because I'm in them and I don't want to watch myself. But it is such a great way for businesses to promote themselves each and every month. It is free for them. And then so we do the interview, we go around to various groups and organizations and kind of promote the community and what we're doing or different specials happening at businesses. And then they extract the audio from it and play it on the river as well. So some of these places who normally wouldn't be able to advertise at least get some nice airtime on TV and the radio. And it's just another way that the chamber continues to support our community. We currently have 260 businesses and organizations that are members, which in rough terms it represents approximately 60% of our business community, like the retail sector. So we're really proud of that because I think most chambers sit between 20 and 30%. So hats off to Minto, we're number 1 again. Of note on this page here, just to give you a little glimpse, and I'm not going to read too much, but I think this is really important, and it speaks true of our chamber and launch it. Tim Earnshaw from Attached Pro Welding, he has a mobile welding business, and we did a ribbon cutting for him as he launched his business. He says, there is an incredible amount of support for entrepreneurs here in Minto, thanks to the team at Launch It and Minto Chamber. I was offered so much guidance and support to help me navigate through one of the most challenging endeavors I'd ever faced. I am humbled to know that there are people who want me to succeed and care so much about the future of our community. The most important thing I've learned in this experience as a young person and entrepreneur is that I can feel confident and excited about the future here in Minto. And I think that just rings true. And as you can see in that picture, there was a whole lot of council there. And so thank you again for that. So turning to the next page, we'll flip to Launch It, which I always find it very difficult to extract which hat I'm wearing because they are both, they both just work so nicely together, both of these initiatives and organizations. So at Launch It in 2022, we hosted 15 training events. which we had 292 attendees. A few of these were virtual, some of them were hybrid model. One thing that COVID taught us is that we have that capability to do both things. So whether you love it or hate it, at least you can join in whatever capacity you can. So 6,699 people have enjoyed the Launch It Space since its inception in 2014. We currently have several tenants. So we have Betty McTagg, who's the chiropodist, Melissa Miller, she is a dental hygienist that has the retail space out in front, Infrastructure Ontario, the Digital Service Squad, Nelia, she works out of that office. I'm Robin Ross from Roving Goats. She rents an office space. And then we have occasional tenants too, or occasional rentals. So they just pop in. It's becoming quickly that kind of drop-by spot for, you know what, they need a quick office space or a boardroom or a quiet meeting space. And so people are really starting to cling to that and really utilize it. So we're very proud of that. And just launched the end of 2022 is our new mentor program. So we've always had to some capacity a mentorship program where we engage different industries. Some mentors have been in business for a very long time and retired and want to give back. Some have very industry specific talents and skills in the restaurant or retail, whatnot. So we reached out to these people in our community and developed a new program. So the mentor program, businesses need to be in business for 1 year already and just working on adapting, changing, growing their business and, you know, figuring out what works and doesn't. But we are proud to say that we have 11 mentors that have signed up to be part of this. And if anyone would like more information or knows someone that would fit that criteria, we encourage them to reach out because our mentors have undergone training to become a mentor. And we just really feel that this program could be well utilized. So next page, just a few highlights of other initiatives that we offer at Launch It. Launch It, the Minto Chamber has partnered with the Township of Wellington North and Township of Mapleton, as we often do, to apply for the Digital Service Squad grant. So we were the lucky recipients last year of, I believe it was $58,000 to be able to hire a Digital Service Squad person and offer that support to our business community. So in 2022, 104 businesses received the $2,500 grant. 285 business consultations were had by the Digital Service Squad. And the 4.0, the part 2, so 4.2 is now open and it will remain open until the end of September. So we encourage businesses that have not received this grant already to apply. You can use Digital Transformation Grant for so many things like photography for your website or hiring someone to manage your social media. So it's a really easy grant to get and it's been very well received. Nelia is our Digital Service Squad person and she is doing a bang up job. She also meets with businesses to provide guidance and tools and basically on how to operate in a digital age. So if they need to get things set up or connected or whatnot, she is the gal. We are also still connected. We are a main door for the iHub Food Futures. It's an initiative that aims to establish Canada's first circular food economy with a focus on nutritious food access, waste elimination, and reducing environmental impact. So we're connected with that, and so I'm able to offer support with that. And then also on this page, we host the Minto Makers Market. So there was 6 Makers Markets hosted in 2022. And we have a network, it says over 60 makers, but I think it's well over that now. Yeah, I have a feeling. So that's constantly growing. I think that's it for now. I will pass it off to Erin.
Yeah, okay, so next up, we're just going to talk a bit about our downtown committee groups. So just to start, a big shout out to all the businesses and the volunteers in our community who sit on these committees and make all these events and beautification efforts possible. So to start for Hairston Rising, they have about 16 committee members on the steering, events, and beautification committees. And some of their big things, again, was getting back into events. So we started the year with like a new event, Egg Scramble, that was well attended. And as always, the Hairston Street Party does really well. It was lots of fun. We had Sundays on Sunday that brought $130 in ice cream back to the Magic Ice Cream Shop, and also lots of people out to the Cafe at the Old Post to celebrate too and listen to some music. Halloween Haunt is always growing, so there's over 400 people downtown Hairston trick-or-treating in the streets, and lots of businesses out handing out candy and running activities. We also hosted our Ladies' Night, which had makers and bartenders and lots of fun stuff. We handed out 100 bags, and then to draws to enter for gift cards too for this to kickstart the Think Minto First program. Some other things we did was just some beautification efforts with the planters in the outside of businesses and kind of decorating, sprucing up the downtown, and various promotions throughout the year as well. And we've got up to 1,135 followers, so it's always a growing kind of group of people we share our messages to in Hairston Rising. For Palmerston, we have 13 committee members in 2022 on our 3 different groups. And we were very excited this year for the first time ever to launch the Railway Festival, which was a super duper exciting event. And we had over 400 people attend, and we raised over $5,000 to support not only All Aboard Palmerston, so we can run the whole shigding again next year, but also the Railway Museum, and then our local community groups, the Scouts, the Cadets, and Optimists, who were there with their food booths. So that was a really successful event. We're excited to run it again this year too. And then, we continued with the rest of our events for the year too, like Light Up the Park and the Kris Kringle Market, and Fire and Ice again this year. All Aboard Palmerston also worked on a whole bunch of beautification efforts this year. So outside the Lions Park, we got new metal flowers, which were sponsored in part by Brown Insurance, and there's also poppies on it for different times of the year. They started with orange pole wraps to recognize National Truth and Reconciliation Day. We've got another mural in Palmerston there, which you can see on the bottom of the page. It's quite beautiful. And yes, then they started to refresh the basketball court in Palmerston with the Building Better Bridges Adult Day program, and also Norval class helps do that. So that's about everything for Palmerston. And then Clifford last year had about 11 committee members. And they had a successful Clifford Carnival in the summertime and Clifford Christmas in the Street with Minto Fire in the wintertime. Brought lots of people to the downtown for lots of fun activities. A big thing in Clifford this year was the completion of Clifford Rotary Celebration Square, which you can see a picture of there as well. That was funded by the Healthy Communities Initiative and the Canada Community Revitalization Fund. And then a special thanks to our local sponsors, the Clifford Rotary Club and the Clifford Firefighter Association. So that's looking good. And there's lots of plans for this year as well to kind of activate the space. And just a few other things, I guess, is Clifford also got a mural as well. So you can see that down there too. And they also worked on their promotional efforts. Okay. Then on the next page at the bottom there is the Minto Farmers Market. So it's an exciting year for the Farmers Market again too, because we're back to hosting all of our in-person events, which is exciting for me. It's the first time I got to do that. So we had a Strawberry Social, Family Day, Library Day, Corn Roast, and with the Palmerston Fall Fair, and a fall event. And then we collaborated with the Public Works Department for some Year of the Garden initiatives, and the Early On Center hosted a Kids Day as well. So it was a really fun year there. Early in the year, our farmers market chair of Harbour Farms, Lou Cartung, he runs our annual trivia, which was online last year, but they raised $1,420 there, and also another $500 that was donated to the Red Cross for the Ukraine crisis. So really successful fundraiser every year, and I hear it's going even better this year. So back in person at the Legion. And there's one more actually in March if anyone wants to come for the last one. Some other exciting initiatives is we continued with our market box for this year. So we sold out again, and that resulted in So for all of Wellington County, the market boxes, which is a great initiative organized by the Wellington County Taste Reel to bring local food straight to people's houses all over Wellington County. And over the whole county, they sold 422 boxes, which is $2,800. Numbers are hard. And which was over $3,000 for our market directly. And then we also did the holiday market box, which was new this year. So it was the same kind of idea, but each market donated, or not donated, they put in one item from every market in Wellington County, and that raised over $44,000, which was straight to businesses all over Wellington County. And yeah, that's about everything for that.
Just a quick note on the Palmerston Railway Museum. It was our busiest year yet. So we had over 1,800 visitors. So it was nice to be back to more normal there as well. And you can see the numbers. I'm not going to repeat them, but we were successful with a lot of grants at the museum this year. We were fortunate to have returning students who did a great job of archiving. We held a couple special events, and want to shout out to our counterparts in the rec department, or now community services. So we look after like the operational side of the museum, and they look after the building side. So we were able to complete the cook car renovation and look forward to doing the caboose this year. Next page. Just to highlight some of our regional partnerships with our Saugeen Connects group. That partnership has expanded and now includes 7 local municipalities as well as SEDC. And that group, we were successful to get just over $61,000 in RED funding last year to participate in this regional advisory workforce collaboration project, which is underway right now, where we're meeting with local employers and trying to reach out to the very small minority of people who are unemployed right now with our low unemployment rate, but trying to get those people into jobs and finding the right supports to help the employers do that. Under this program, WOWSA was brought under Saugeen Connects now, so we have a now even bigger region, and we were able to host 5 events last year. And then where it says 10 women entrepreneurs, that's our AW program, so that's an online webinar series, 10-part for women in business or looking to get into business that we support through that program. And then our Saugeen Student Startup Program last year, we had 39 businesses with 47 youth participating, and Minto led the way with 14 youth participating with our small business program.
Yeah, just quickly on the volunteer support, like as I mentioned, our volunteers are super important to everything that we do in our department. So we can't thank them enough for making Minto the community that it is. Over this year, we just quickly highlight some of the things. We did volunteer spotlights just to kind of shout out on social media to thank our community volunteers. We did 9 of those. And then just over the year, we collaborated with a whole bunch of different groups to either, as I mentioned, do the Year of the Garden stuff or collaborate on different events and bring them there so that they, both their community groups can kind of raise funds and that sort of stuff, and also our events are better. So yeah, we're very proud supporters of collaborations in our department too.
So I'll just quickly talk about our International Women's Day. So of course we want to celebrate that. 2 years ago, we started a social media campaign for International Women's Day where we did a call out to the community for nominations for exceptional and outstanding women. Very quickly, we got many nominations, and we recognized 8 Minto women last year and 11 this year. So we will keep going with that each and every year until we run out of exceptional people. So
Yeah, just next up, just talk a bit about the Minto Youth Action Council. So after kind of a bit of a break throughout COVID, they restarted in 2021 in partnership with the Grove Palmerston, the youth hubs, and we kind of officially amalgamated with them in the Grove Palmerston Youth Advisory Council to do one kind of thing run out of the Grove site. So the youth, there was about 4 or 5 youth and attending regularly and a bunch of rotating youth. And we did a lot of fun stuff last year, which you can kind of see on the bottom there. We hosted various events either in the Grove, which brought lots of people to kind of discover the youth hub, but also a few out in the community too, to kind of practice our volunteerism and event organization so the youth can learn different kind of skills like that. We initiated a few community projects at the beginning of the year to kind of show some love for youth who are stuck at home with another lockdown. We did From Your Friend care packages to different youth and delivered those. And we launched our Sports to Go equipment lending library, which you can borrow equipment out of the Grove and bring to the Lions Park, which hopefully we're going to get more into this year as well. And then we just volunteered in the community at various events as well. Then the next page is kind of our social media wrap up to kind of show some numbers here on how we're expanding and growing every year. So 550 brand awareness growth. So overall new follower growth on all our different platforms for the town of Minto since December 2020. As you can see, our numbers are growing more and more every year, and more people are just becoming aware of our accounts and the good things that we do. And at the bottom, we just shows that we manage 17 different social media accounts. And yeah, all have their own purpose.
Nearing the end. Just quickly, we normally get asked to do quite a few presentations each year about what we're doing in Minto. Last year, we only had one. Already this year, we have two booked. But last year, we were at the University of Waterloo presenting to their Masters in Economic Development program. And just so Council, I think, is aware, I was the treasurer of EDCO last year, and I'm now the new vice president and as well the chair of the Professional Development Committee. So that commitment continues for another few years here, but happy to do it. We have lots of beautiful photos there. And then I just want to end by shouting out to my team. They're amazing. This is Summer's last presentation. She's leaving after 8 years with us, and I'm not going to cry. So yeah, I just want to thank both you girls for your efforts. And as I always say with our department, what we do is not possible without the support of our other departments and the staff in the other departments, as well as the community groups and businesses. That's what makes our job so much fun. And yeah, that's it. Sorry for taking up so much time, but appreciate your listening. Any questions?
Are you entertaining questions?
Yes, of course.
Ed, you're first.
Okay, I'm always first.
You're first today.
I just, first of all, I just want to thank you for all you do. Excellent presentation, by the way. I think there was a typo though in your presentation. This is a year in review. It seems to me that this is like more like 2 or 3 years of work. Excellent job. Thank you to yourselves, your staff, and I guess all the volunteers that were involved. Excellent job.
Thank you, Councillor Podnowitz. Yeah, it's a lot when you look back on the year. It does feel like some of the stuff was a while ago, but it was all last year.
Other questions? Councillor Elliott?
Not a question, more of a comment. You guys do a great job. I've known that for years. You know, you work with, especially how you work with volunteers and you guys are the reason a lot of volunteers come forward and do a lot of things. I know with the Lions Club, you're always working with us, and it's a great organization. I also want to say that Belinda is going to be presenting at the OSAM convention this year with 2 other people, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a credit to yourself and your group for what you do. People recognize that. And as soon as I mentioned your name, you jumped all over it. So
thanks
for doing that.
Thank you. My pleasure. Yep.
Other questions? No,
It's been said.
certainly, Belinda, Summer, Aaron, I mean, it goes without saying that you guys have done a fine job. I mean, this book it says a lot. It doesn't say it all, but it says a lot about what you guys are up to. And I mean, we as council, sometimes, we think to ourselves, what are those people doing all day, right? But, and I mean, right from the bottom of our hearts, we certainly appreciate you guys and our staff. And what other thing, I understand that you're going to be heading down to the south end of the county later on this month to do a presentation in Erin. So certainly hope to be attending there, and OSAM as well. And I mean, that's just absolutely wonderful to all 3 of you guys to be so. I agree with Ron. I mean, I've been out to some of these lately as late as yesterday or as early as yesterday at a Economic Development 101. And, there's 25 people there. People coming up asking, how things are in Minto and how they go on our websites and see exactly what we're doing and say hello to, the group, Belinda, Summer, Aaron. So, I mean, it's wonderful and it's great to have you on EDCO as vice chair. That's pretty big. So thank you for all the hard work you do. And I mean, you're so humble. You guys, you give everybody else the credit. And you need to take some for yourself, so.
Well, thank you. And thank you for council's support. Like, we've always had a supportive of council. I've been here for 18 years and we were one of the first in the county to get into economic development. And for our size, there's a lot of places that only have one ECDEV person, and this would not all get accomplished with one person. So we really appreciate council seeing the value in ECDEV and the work that we're doing to make Minto a great place, not only for businesses, but for residents and just to be a wonderful community all around. So thank you for your support too.
So I'm sure there will be a large send-off, if you will, for Summer. I know that she just loves to hide her face and not not be a part of the accolades. But for sure, Belinda, a lot of this would not happen, especially the chamber. I mean, would I write 260 members? Is that unheard of, or is there anything like that else right? So
Yeah, for a small community, it's big. Like, we have a lot of members for the size of our community. We have a very strong chamber.
And so I really do believe a lot of the strength there is Chamber of Commerce members making decisions for themselves. At the meeting, they come up with ideas and they encourage each other. Let's try that. I mean, if we don't try it, then who's going to do it for us? When you have, and I know Summer, you're a huge part of that, but you alluded to the point where, or one of you did, that other Chamber of Commerces hire people to look after their Chamber of Commerce. So in this particular case, it's Chamber of Commerce doing things for the Chamber of Commerce. And I mean, you really can't beat that. And it's very evident, in the things that you do every day, Summer, and a lot of the things that are in this book. So
Perfect. Thank you.
So, moved by Councillor Elliott, second by Deputy Mayor Anderson, that the Council of Town of Minto receives the report ECDEV 2023-006 regarding the 2022 year in review as information. All in favor of that motion?
I'm in favor.
That's carried. Thank you. Next on the agenda, we'll have Ashley presenting Plan 2023-013, B323. It's Gregory and Catherine Robinson, 552 Main Street East, Palmerston.
Perfect. Thank you, Mayor Turton. Mine's not as exciting as economic development is, but so this consent application is being considered before the Land Division Committee at the county to sever a 0.11 acre vacant urban residential lot for a proposed single detached dwelling and to retain 0.15 of an acre with an existing dwelling and accessory structures. So with the existing zoning requirements regarding the lot area and frontage are met for both lots, when a building permit's applied for, they'll still have to meet their zoning requirements for setbacks, lot coverage, building height, etc. Town staff note that we have included some recommended conditions, one being that a grading, drainage, and servicing plan is required prior to building permit issuance. This is something that's standard for infill lots in town. Also, any right-of-way works for municipal servicing must be completed by a pre-qualified contractor with securities to be provided for the town to hold on to until the works are completed to our satisfaction. Again, this is something standard for infill residential lots. And all of the works must be in accordance with our policies and design standards at the town, and we do review them and have our engineers review them as well. We are also recommending a condition that the applicant provide the documented location of the existing municipal services for the retained lot. This is because with older homes, service locations can, from time to time, differ in where they actually are from what is on record. So this will just ensure that this is documented and we know where the services are. If the services for the retained lot are within that severed portion, we will be requiring the owner to relocate them solely onto the retained portion. And we also have made a note, this isn't a condition, but it'll be at the owner's discretion to decide if they want to pull services in on their own cost, or if they potentially want to do it at the time when we redo Main Street. It may provide some cost savings, but that's something that's entirely up to them to decide when they want to do. And we are recommending that council recommends the County of Wellington Land Division Committee approve the consent with the conditions outlined in the report. And I'm here if you have any questions.
Okay, the recommendation moved by Councillor Dirksen, second by Councillor Gunson, that the Council of Town of Minto recommends that the County of Wellington Land Division Committee approve consent application B323 Robinson for land legally described as Park Lot 20 SS, Main Street, Western Canada Savings and Loan Plan with the municipal address of 552 Main Street East, Palmerston, in the Town of Minto, with the following conditions, and there's a whole page of them, there's 8 of them. I'm not going to read them, and I'm going to ask for questions for Ashley. And I'm assuming, Ed, you'll speak up if you have questions?
Yes, I have no questions.
So I really think that that's a good thought on the town's behalf to speak up and tell the folks that are applying for this that we are doing some road work, and, you know, it'll likely be less expensive for them, if you will, to do it after the, or during the reconstruction process. So kudos to you for that. If there's no questions, and I've read the motion, all in favor of the motion?
I'm in favor.
Thank you, that's carried. Thank you, Ashley. We'll move along to the Weidman severance, Plan 2023-014, B15 23, Weidman severance, 5927, 14th line, and we'll ask Ashley to present.
Perfect, thank you. So this is regarding the proposed Weidman severance. As council may recall, in early 2022, they rezoned roughly 1.5 acres of the property to an agricultural and natural environment site specific to be able to construct a new rural residential school for a community that utilizes horse and buggy as their main means of transportation. So essentially what this is proposing to sever off that piece of portion, so that piece of land, so it'll be its own lot with separate distinct ownership. This is something that's permitted in the prime agricultural area under the official plan, as it is a community service facility. Town staff note that we have included, I would say, standard conditions for a rural severance, one being that a new drainage assessment schedule is completed to ensure the reapportionment of the applicable municipal drains, as well as that the owners advise that for a new entrance, should they need it, a permit will have to be obtained from the road authority with jurisdiction, which in this case is the town. Additionally, the zoning has passed, is finalized, and is in place, so this is really just to sever that piece off. And we are recommending that Council of the Town of Minto recommends to the County of Wellington Land Division Committee to approve the consent with the conditions outlined in the report.
Thank you, Ashley. The recommendation is moved by Councillor Zimmerman, seconded by Councillor Dirksen, that the Council of Town of Minto recommends the county to the County of Wellington Land Division Committee approve the consent application B1523 Weidman for land legally described as Concession 14, Part Lot 24, with your municipal address 5927 14th line in the Town of Minto, and the following conditions be considered, and there's 5 of them. Questions for Ashley on this? I know that we've seen this before. Councillor Elliott.
Just quickly, I see Weidman is the one behind this, but is he the owner of a school, or how's that? Like, it's a different, it's like a private school. So he owns the school and the property?
Yeah, so essentially when they were looking at locations, I don't think he necessarily wanted the school on his property, but based on where their demand's coming from and the property that they had available to them when they looked at all the options, his was the best choice. So he is the owner of the whole property. When they split it, I would not be surprised if it goes into the name of the church. He may retain ownership, but that'll be something up to them. Essentially, it'll just make sure it's 2 separate lots.
The severance is his, and it's up to him whether he changes ownership after that.
Yeah, it's his property still.
All right, thanks.
Yep.
Other questions? general question. I heard a number a little while back that we had 13 parochial schools in Minto. Are we up, this will make 14, or is there 15? Or is that an unfair question, Terry?
It's been quite a few years since it's been quite a few years since I counted the number of schools. But with this one, as well as the zoning that was approved last week for a school on Seven Bridges Road, it would, add a couple more to our roster.
It's pretty amazing, isn't it? It really is. That's the way it used to be, turning back the clock before 1965. Where are we? Pardon me.
You can go back that far?
Sorry.
Mayor Turton.
Councillor Dirksen, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to comment that we do not have the Amish schools that we did have. So there was at least 2 of those that are not in existence any longer, so.
I forgot about those 2. You're absolutely right. The one on the
So-
14th line and the one on the 15th line have closed, so.
Yeah, so we might be somewhere around the same, but there's a number of them for sure.
Okay, so no other questions? All in favor of this motion?
I'm in favor.
Thank you, Ed. That's carried. Thank you very much. We are now moving into announcements, right, Annaline?
That's correct.
I'm not jumping ahead.
You're not?
Do we want to start in the west?
Yeah, I guess. I have no announcements, sir. Thank you.
Well, I do have an announcement for a change.
An announcement?
An announcement. It's more information for council. So I've sat with a committee that's interested in displaying pictures and information about the history of Tiviadale. And we had a pretty good meeting a couple of weeks ago down at Mr. Bosman's house in Tiviadale. And we've kind of narrowed down a site for display at the OPP station. If you drive in the driveway on the left-hand side, there's a parcel of land there that has trees and grass, which would be kind of an ideal spot for us. So Gord sent Wayne Martin, former Councillor Martin, some information on getting in touch with the county planner to see about what steps we need to take. And we're waiting to hear back from him. We've pretty much narrowed down 6 topics we want to cover in our picture display, and that would include the businesses, schools, the sports activities. And there was a dance hall there that was a pretty hot spot at one point. I think we've actually found some pictures of that. It's been long gone. And the Speedway, of course, was really huge, and of course the church that was there. So if anyone's listening and has some nice old pictures, it would be really great if they could share those with us. Originals would help immensely. We have Rainbow Signs that is going to do all our artwork and stuff for us. Still working on costing, which leads to the next topic, is we're going to need some funding of some sort, and maybe Belinda and her cultural roundtable might be able to help us out with that, or maybe Gord knows some grants that might be available. We don't know the cost yet. We'll just have to wait for our next meeting to find that out. So I'm bringing this out for information that we may in the future be asking for some funding. We'll see how it goes. But that's about the update for now.
Gordon.
Thanks, Mayor Turton. And just further to Councillor Zimmerman's comments, I just had the chat with the county planner who wasn't at this meeting, but he was down the hall. And he has been chatting with Wayne Martin, and he's working kind of at the county level. And I did receive a request from Wayne Martin about some cultural roundtable contributions. So we'll discuss that at our next meeting for sure too. So
Excellent.
yeah, I'm sure we can bring it all together.
The other thing that possibly Councillor Zimmerman, and thank you for going to the meeting down in Tiviotdale. Is it possible for, I can't say for sure the criteria, but possibly the Tiviotdale Historical Society apply to the mayor's tournament and possibly be a part of that? It's just a thought. So,
Good to know.
Deputy Mayor Anderson.
Just in the line of some of the previous presentations, think Minto first. Harrison Horticulture Society currently have certificates available. I did circulate emails to some people, but anybody who would like to, you're purchasing in town anyway, it's things that you would use, the number of businesses that are listed on it, restaurants, the hardware store, all of the local nurseries, and it supports the Port Society in its efforts to beautify the community. So it sort of just goes around in continual circle. So if people are interested in purchasing anything, let me know, and I can get you a form or send you an email with the form, and we'll collect the money. You can drop it off with David, or it goes to the end of the month. So by March, the end of March, we're finished our particular program with it.
Okay.
Anyone's interested, but it's a great way to support our local businesses and whatever group you're part of.
Go ahead, Councillor Gunson. Councillor Elliott.
Yeah, so I got an exciting, I got a page full. It'll only take me 2 minutes. so
Do me a favor.
Got a
Ron,
really
and
exciting announcement.
Speak into the mic, please.
I got a really exciting announcement. A month or so, maybe a month ago, it was actually before that. I was talking out loud after Light Up the Park to this person about, boy, I'd like to see a new clock put in the Palmerston Arena. And he said I'd be willing to give a lot of money towards that project. So as it went on about a month ago, it was kind of decided that, yeah, he'd like to donate, and he was very, very true to his word. He has already donated money to build a video clock. So where the time clock is in Palmerston at the far end, that old time clock will be moved down to above the warm room, above the glass there. And the new video clock will replace it in about the same spot. The size of it is 14 by 8. Our old one's 8 by 8, so I'll give you an idea. I didn't realize how big it was until we got down there. It's going to be a really good thing. It's going to have the capability of a live feed whenever we'll have to learn how to do that kind of things. But for example, if you were in the building at Fall Fair time, they could do a live feed on the big scoreboard and let them know what's happening outside, do announcements off of it. If you have a hockey team that was hitting the ice, they could throw a picture of the hockey team, put up some sound and show all kinds of things that what am I thinking about? Fireworks, that kind of thing, fake fireworks in the back of it, make all kinds of excitement about it. If when you put it into this computer, you could also say if somebody scores a goal, you could hit the button, up would come their picture and their number, and there'd be all kinds of accolades, and sound and exciting. If you had a figure skating program, which they usually have in Palmerston now, before the skaters come on the ice, you could have that up on the screen, that who's coming up and close-ups of them, and the same kind of things with music and such like. So I'm really excited about this. We can do advertising on it. The donor has said that, yeah, you're more than welcome to do advertising on this, and the money can go back to Arena. So it can be a money-making proposition for that too. And if we had bought it, they said that you would have got your money back in advertising in about 5 years. So we're automatically going to make money on it right away because the clock has been donated. It's donated by a private citizen. We're going to do a press release on Monday at 1 o'clock. And at that time, we'll reveal who the name is, and we'll reveal the amount of money. And it's huge money that he's giving forward to this, he and his wife. And the only thing he wants out of that is below the clock, we'll put it, his name, that he was the donator. End of story. And a fairly new person to the community, wants to get involved, and what a way to get involved. And it's just going to put our arena, our town on the map again, because not very many communities of our size would have that kind of capability of what we're going to have for it. So I'm really, really excited, and thank you to that person. Again, on Monday at 1, we're going to do a presentation on a check from him and so on. So, although the real check has been wrote already. All right, thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Elliott. Any questions? If not, Councillor Gunson, I did ask you.
Yes, you did.
So I have an announcement to make. One of our staff has been accredited in the accredited municipal professional. She was successful February 24th, 2023, and she could be going to Fallsview Casino Resort to receive her accreditation on June 14th. I'd like to tell you that Quinn Forder has been working hard on her own during COVID, and she's adding another 3 letters to her after her name. So, Quinn. That's exciting. Congratulations. Now you'll be able to take the summer off and spend more time with your mother. Perfect. I know you mean that. So congratulations. So moving along. Moved by Deputy Mayor Anderson, seconded by Councillor Elliott, that the Committee of the Whole convenes into regular council. All in favor?
I'm in favor.
That's carried. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Gunson, seconded by Councillor Zimmerman, that the Council of the Town of Minto ratifies the motions made in the Committee of the Whole. All in favor?
I'm in favor.
That's carried. Thank you. Bylaws 2023 confirmatory, 2023-018 confirmatory. The Councillor Elliott, seconded by Councillor Gunson, the bylaw 2023-018 to confirm actions of the Council Corporation of the Town of Minto respecting a meeting held March 7th, 2023, be read a first, second, and third time and passed in open council and sealed with the seal of the corporation. All in favor?
I'm in favor.
So as everyone is aware, we are having an open house this afternoon, our budget, and we're going to tell everybody about it, and then we'll pass it if we see fit. Date? March 21st. So adjournment. Moved by Councillor Dirksen, seconded by Deputy Mayor Anderson, that the Council of Town of Minto adjourns to meet again at the call of the mayor. All in favor?
I'm in favor.
Thank you, and that's passed. Thank you very much for a very productive meeting.